Morning, everybody. We have a couple minutes before we start, but since I am going to be using a few props as usual this morning, I thought I'd give you the preview of coming distractions. First, as always, a roll towel, or if you've got an old soccer ball, basketball around, we're going to do some preliminary core work, even though then we'll go to our straps. Some sort of strap or a long towel that you can use. Preferably you've got a strap. Claudia, hopefully yours came in the mail. That you can eventually loop together so that we can do some looping. And we did some chair work on Monday, and I thought that we could keep going with that and stitch it together, so to speak, with a wall, so that we'll have suspension between 2 points and connection between 2 points as we try to extend our poses. So in yoga, we have a lot of eccentric contraction, which means we're trying to lengthen the muscles at the same time they're engaged. So mostly when you say the word contraction, you think squishing to the middle. And that's important. And that's why we'll do the core work to pull in, as we did a little bit on Monday, to pull into what the yoga core entails in the space between the belly button and the tailbone. But then if we want to expand out our limbs and our energy outward, either in standing poses or in balancing poses, that requires that we are able to come into the core and then go out. And this can be as simple, or thought of as simply as the breathing process. If you just take an inhale, what are you doing? You're bringing in outside energy, oxygen, etc., into the lungs. And then as you exhale, you're sending it back out. So in yoga, we take advantage of that principle, and we start to ideally try and get the breath cycle connected with the muscles, the musculature, which allows for this internal combustion, so to speak, this internal core work, like I'm curling in, not only just bringing the oxygen into the lungs, but dropping it down, so to speak, into the core. And that's where we have this slight contraction if you just take your hands to the belly now. And one of my favorite teachers, Richard Freeman, used to poke into his transverse abdominals as he inhaled. And then as you exhale, release. So this transverse abdominal action, like a kangaroo pouch, you could do a 5-breath cycle. Inhale once, and you dimple in a little bit here. Inhale twice, 3 times, 4, and then exhale. Try it again. Inhale. Again. 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 And then release. The other value of the slight engagement, think of it as a seatbelt, seatbelting yourself before you do your practice. With the inhale is that it tones the core and brings the prana, they call it in yoga, big name for just the expansion of the upper chest cavity, the lungs, full breath. So this is tricky, and I'm trying to do my best job to explain to you the upward lifting belly, as it's called, as we inhale. At the same time we're bringing in the breath, take a big inhale, we're toning the core. And keeping a little bit of that tone as you exhale so that I can do some fun things. So let's just go back and forth, inhaling, the chest coming forward as we've done in the past, and feeling this opening, and then exhale, sinking back, keeping a little bit of that core tone. And now we're going to articulate a little bit more the yoga core, which allows us to fly, so to speak, or extend into more grand, expressive postures. And so as you inhale and you bring the breath up into the ribs, you're starting to trace that kangaroo pouch, or that drawing in of the Uddiyana Bandha. As you roll back, keeping a little tone and imagining that got a little plug on the bottom of the tailbone that pulls up and seals the deal. So it kind of comes up toward the belly button from the pelvic floor, and hook makes a lock. Inhale forward. It's like the breath is reaching down like one part of the seatbelt. And then exhale as I go back. Up comes from the base of the spine, the other, and I clasp. Oh, and now I have core so that I can switch my feet. So now we've turned our seatbelt into a little bit more of a vertical orientation. And again, inhale forward. Imagine the breath going through the nostrils, or if you need the mouth to open, down, 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 cavitating a little bit into your core. Exhale as you lean back and curl the tailbone, pull up from the pelvic floor, like you're creating a lock. And this allows me to start to do fun things with my seatbelt on. Relax for a second, relax the belly, take a few breaths. And here's the other thing, as I've talked in the past, activation, deactivation. So these are the bandhas, and they have fancy names. Uddiyana Bandha, upward lifting belly. It should be more like sideways spreading belly. And then Mula Bandha, the root lock. And we're going to get into these a little bit without getting too highfalutin. Needless to say, as we get into standing postures, we have to put that seatbelt on to do our work. So without further ado, or trying to explain too much, have your chair ready, preferably something high-backed, and you can just keep that in the front of the mat. And the back of your mat, you have the wall. And we're going to lay down on our backs initially and take our towel rolls with us. And we'll go right into the core work. So we'll go down into bridge and just set the towel roll under the low back. If you don't like the towel roll, you can omit it, but some people will find it's useful as you take the arms out from the shoulders. And just start to do exactly what we did before, either with the arms extended, or if it's more informative, the hands where I had them at the sides of the low belly. Inhale, I rock the hips and the pelvis over the towel roll a little bit, creating an arch pattern, creating a spreading and a subtle engagement across transverse abdominals. Exhale, now you should be able to feel the tailbone comes back to you. Inhale, hips and tailbone move away, but I'm trying to spread open this transverse abdominal area. And then exhale, I start to pull back and create the seatbelt action. So you can be subtle with this. If you have some low back issues, you can just work inhale and exhale with these pelvic tilts. And what if we inhale forward and then exhale, pull the hips toward us and pull the left knee toward us. And then put the left foot down. Inhale, rock the hips forward. Exhale, pull from the pelvic floor, the hips back toward posterior tilt. Just see if you can lift that right knee. and hover the shin. We're just going for a little walk early in the morning. Inhale, hips forward. Exhale, I rein in the core and one knee lifts. Drop it. Inhale, arch and curl. Inhale and exhale. This, of course, could get much grander, and I could extend the leg straight up to the sky, put it down. Inhale, arch, exhale, curl, pull the knee toward me without even grabbing it with the hands, and then kick it up to the sky. So we're trying to move from the middle, from the core, and the towel roll is keeping us honest in terms of symmetry of the low back. And you can just see how this core works. Haven't done a thing with my upper body. Let's go ahead and hold that left knee the next time it comes up in both hands. And if you can, now we'll start to inhale, pull the knee toward the shoulder, left knee toward left shoulder, and exhale, move it away. And now we're gonna work that, just that left side. Inhale is now in a reverse pattern. We're kind of contracting into that left gut, and exhale, pushing away. So if you've been coming over the past several weeks, if not several months, you know that there's two ways to use the breath in pelvic tilts. One is the normal, which we started with, and we're flexing and arching the low back on inhale and rounding on exhale. And the other one is this paradoxical breath of inhale, curling in, pulling the knee in, exhale, releasing. We can do this with the right leg extended along the mat if it's not going to create distress to your top of your right hip, your hip flexor. Now, what if I, either with the right foot planted or the right leg extended, inhale the knee toward me by itself, by its own accord, and exhale, move it away. Inhale and exhale. So again, a little subtle core. And for me, I will admit that my left core, my left hip is weaker. So just doing this simple motion, gliding the shin toward me and away, is creating a bit of work. You can go as far as you want, hover. And then let's pull both knees in for a second, give a squeeze. And then let's try the other side. We're going to hug the right knee. The left foot is down with bent position in the knee. And then we inhale, glide the right knee to right shoulder. Exhale, push. So first it's a manual adjustment. But then, can you use your core? So I release the hands to the floor and I inhale, pull the knee toward me and away of its own accord. And how much am I going to play here? Well, it could be just microcosmically. It could be I completely can straighten the right leg and hover off the ground. Could be I've got my left leg all the way planted into the ground and I'm moving. So feel what's good for your connection. I want to say your core, but your core connection, and then set the feet down and pull the knees into the body. Now let's grab our straps and let's loop the strap around solely around the left foot. And we can have the right foot down on the mat. Again, if the towel roll is not feeling great for you, it's not useful, you can abandon it. And now we've done this work before, but we're going to add a little bit of a more subtle permutation. So all we've done in the past, which is pretty simple, is to take the hands high on the strap ends. And the strap is around the left foot. We pull the left knee toward the left shoulder again on inhale, but using the arms. And exhale, the leg starts to press straight up to the sky. So I could keep my right leg bent, or I could slide it long. It doesn't matter. I'm going to suggest that you at least start with keeping the right knee bent. And you'll see why in a second. So as you do this pumping of the leg, pulling, inhale, curling into the left transverse abdominal or the obliques, however you want to think about that contraction and then expansion. Can you remember, can you tie in that breath pattern of inhale, the upward lifting belly or the engaging, drawing into the belly, and then the exhale, remember I asked you to try and engage your pelvic floor, as if the tailbone were pulling, or the area just in front of the tailbone were pulling up through the body. So that's asking a lot of internal, external awareness, but give it a shot. And so it's not just the leg going up and down, but it's the leg connected to the action of the sacrum, the muscles around the sacrum. Now let's add a piece as we bend the knee, right, left knee toward us. Can you pick up that right knee off the ground and pick up that right foot off the ground? So take a look if you can. And now I've got almost like I was running on the ceiling. And then exhale, put that right foot down and kick the left leg up to the sky. Inhale. Both knees in a sense are bending toward me, but one is strapped, the other one isn't. And then exhale, I extend. And now this plays into the contraction of the belly. Inhale as the knees pull in. And then exhale, press up. Both feet have points of contact. One, the left foot on the strap. Two, the right foot on the floor. If I wanted to add a piece, I could slide the right leg along the ground for advanced students. On exhale. Inhale, I pull and drag that right knee back. So play at first modestly and then go where you want to go. Okay, can we take both feet into the strap for a second and just press the legs up to the sky, find a neutral sacrum on the towel roll, and push out a little bit. It's the edges of the feet. So this outward push, if you're not getting the transverse abdominal kangaroo pouch technology, should allow you to feel that stretching between the frontal hip bones. So go ahead and switch feet. Now we'll drop the left foot down, keep the knee bent to start, and then we're just going to pull the right knee toward us on inhale and exhale push. So it's very easy as physical beings to just think, oh boy, this is good because I'm strengthening my leg on the push, I'm strengthening my arms on the pull. How fun is that? But I want you to pay attention. Now go inside your body and feel that the core, the tilt of the hips and that right pelvic half toward you, that core engagement of the right belly, and then exhale. Can you feel as the leg extends outward, I'm pulling up through the body from the pelvic floor. Ladies might know this is a Kegel type of action. And guys, you might benefit from this later in life with other issues. Actually, everybody, male, female, as one of my favorite yoga teachers, Richard Freeman, would say, we don't want to become incontinent. And so having this control in the deep muscles of the core and the pelvic floor actually is good for very practical reasons. But now let's see if we can add a piece as you bend the right knee toward you. Inhaling, can you pick up and hover that left shin, left foot? And think of like squeezing a medicine ball between the thighs, even though the knees aren't connecting. Exhale, plant the left foot, kick the right leg up into the strap. And you get the picture. Inhale and exhale. So now we're back to the same motion of the hips coming toward us on the towel roll and then away. But we're making this somewhat sophisticated with what the knees are and the legs are doing in opposite patterns, which we need to learn when we get to standing poses like the warriors. And now I'm starting to just play with extending the left leg forward, either hovering or on the ground, but I'm connecting or finding that pelvic floor piece that the yogis call Mula Bandha, the root lock, so that I'm completely locked out and connecting the dots. Good? We put both feet in the strap and take the feet a little wider to happy baby, and let the knees be bent, let the low back be curled, and just hang out here and release the low back. You can even start to push the left foot out to the side, inhale the center and push the right leg. And now just like a baby kind of plays around on its back, just start to pedal out the inner legs, which get a lot of tone from this work. So if we pull the feet together overhead and hold the strap and push, we have symmetry once again for a moment. Now let's work those inner legs. So we'll put the feet together, soles of the feet and the knees wide, similar to happy baby, but a little bit different because the feet are together, and I'm not trying to let the feet go away from me like Baddha Konasana yet. I'm keeping the feet in my eye or visual range, and as I inhale, I pull the feet just an inch or two closer to my field of vision overhead, and exhale, I roll back. You got it. Again, these pelvic tilts. So I'm pulling in, curling the low back, maybe even off the towel roll, and then exhale, pushing away. Meanwhile, we're opening up the inner legs a little bit. So can we start to come back toward that happy baby, separating the feet? Not too much though. And we're going to drop the right foot down now, as if we were still doing that same exercise we had moments ago. But we're going to keep the left knee bent and just track it out a little bit outside that left shoulder. So we'll start simple. Inhale, we do what we've always done. Start to pull the left knee toward us. Exhale, this time we're going to look left and push that left leg out on the diagonal, away from the body. Inhale, pull it in, shoulder blades down. Exhale, it's like the leg wants to take off to the left, let the chest roll. Okay? Now, could you do this with the right leg slid along the floor? Maybe, but don't yet. Could you start to say, I know what he's doing, and take the straps ends only into the left arm and work with one arm, left arm, left leg, and start to extend further out toward the floor? Maybe, but only extending away from the midline as much as you can keep the core involved. And how do we do that? So everybody go ahead and take the strap ends into the left hand. And that right knee is going to come up and hover on inhale. So the hips are rolling back toward us. Again, like we did moments ago. I'm coiling into the body. Then I drop the right foot down and push the left foot out. And I look toward it. Inhale, I pull everything back to the midline. And the right shin hovers. The left foot is just still in the bent knee. Plant, right foot, kick out. You get the picture. So advanced students can start to scissor the legs further apart. Maybe the right leg goes forward and the left leg goes all the way or closer to the ground, and then I pull in to the center. So even if I'm injured and I'm just working the scissors action of in, contraction, exhale, I can modify, modulate. But when I get to the full extension of the pose of the expression, which is what I'm doing now, I'm still invested or
connected to the core so that I can reel it in. I can reel in the legs. Super important, let's switch sides. Let's take both feet into the strap. At first, take the feet wide and just push, 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 flaring the toes and finding a neutral position of the low back of the towel. So the strap is allowing connection. And now let's take the right foot into the strap, left foot down, the knee bent. And remember, we started just pulling the knee, right knee toward the right shoulder, inhale and exhale. This is going to develop where we pull the knee in on inhale, and then can you push the leg, the right leg out to the right a little bit and look toward it. Inhale, pull it in like a horse you're trying to control, or your pet dog, and then the animal wants to go running away. Fine, but I've got the leash. And I just start to play with this roll and kick out to the right. How far out to the right I roll? I don't know, it's up to you. And we want to keep the low back safe on the towel roll. Then you try to play with one hand on both strap ends. And some folks are like, well, I've been doing my ballet and I can just kick out and touch my toes to the ground. But be careful. And we can find the core now by picking up the left shin and the left foot on inhale. So I'm kind of hovering with my palm running on the sky legs. Exhale, I drop the right foot, the left foot down, and kick that left foot out to the side. Rein it in, inhale, extend out. And I can start to scissor the legs if my core is strong enough, my bandhas, and start to play with extending the left leg forward if and only if I can find pelvic floor engagement. And then everybody finds their resting pose, or static pose, I should say. And here's where, in a lot of yoga classes, people go right into the external extended final form, as they think it is, of the posture with no core engagement whatsoever. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull in, take both feet into the strap again, push up to the sky with straight legs, and just take the feet out to the sides. Push, push, push. Get a little hamstring stretch with both legs straddling out. So let's release the feet carefully down to the floor in front of you. Do a couple of those pelvic tilts with the arms released for the whole spine to just unwrap a little. And then let's bridge up. So let's take the hips up, and remember, when you do this, you want to have the best of both worlds with your inhale pattern, engaging transverse abdominals. Your exhale, when the hips come up, still, I'm lessening the arch of the low back by pulling the pelvic floor energetically up through the spine, right to my Ed Sullivan chin. So even though the knees may be heading the other way, I'm pulling up. I can release the towel roll out to the side, release the strap, just drop the knees to the left, the head to the right, and reverse. Just start to iron out that low back and a little bit of a spiral. And start to push with the top knee on the diagonal and stretch that psoas inner leg in a little different manner so that it's feeling pretty good. A couple more things, and then we move to the fun part. This isn't fun, but now let's go ahead and take the strap into the arms. And if you're a little bit close to your wall, move away and take the strap into your hands. You can double it up a little wider than shoulder width. And we'll just start to open the upper body a little bit, although our work is mostly today in the lower extremities. But let's take the arms overhead with the strap, knuckles to the sky, armpits open, and knees bent. And all I want you to do is do the pelvic tilts here with the strap in the arms, the chest open. And you can even bend your elbows slightly and push the upper arm bones away from you. So let the head move with the pelvic tilts. And so these motions or commotions might be the more appropriate word in the hips are, just as we started, operating somewhat independently of the quest to bring in prana in the upper body. But let's connect the dots and let's inhale, arch the low back a little bit and reach the strap along the floor. Exhale, bring the strap up to eye view and flatten the low back by pulling the pelvic floor toward you. And then the same thing, inhale, reach back and exhale. So we've done this many, many times, and you can add more interest here or work by pulling one knee toward the strap as you exhale. And now we're connecting one of the first exercises we did when we had our backs on the towel roll, and we're just pulling the knee in toward you and learning how to train each side. You could do this, of course, even in a grander fashion by pulling the knee toward you, for example, the left knee, and then inhale, sliding the left leg all the way along the floor, reaching through the inner heel, reaching through the arms. And then just be careful that you're still moving the pelvis from the core muscles as you extend the legs. And then you try the other side, and the exhale, the right knee comes toward, and you could just play foot to floor, foot off the floor, or start to slide the leg along the floor, reach, and work. So again, we're moving from the core to the extending poses. And now let's see if we can take that left foot into the strap like we did earlier, and take the strap into both hands, and go to the other pattern of inhale, pulling the knee in, and exhale, pushing away. And so now you should be warmed up enough that some of you can slide the right leg along the floor as you do this push me, pull you with the left leg. Still others, as you exhale, can start to lift the head. Inhale, pull back. Exhale, push forward. A little more on a diagonal now, and then like your water skiing. Okay, inhale, coil into the left belly. Exhale, pull up through the pelvic floor. Up. Is it possible to come all the way up to half boat by pulling up through the pelvic floor and pushing? And then inhale, coming back, and exhale. And again, the inhale curls in. Exhale expresses out. So this is the advanced work. When you really have the core, it's not so much my legs and arms, they're just connecting. And then let's switch legs, briefly take both feet into the strap, push up to the sky, push a little bit out, and then we start to push and pull the right foot. The knee comes in and away. And this, I'm trying to make this sound simple, but it's actually not. And so I can work here. I can work with an extended left leg. And the next time you inhale, if you can coil the head off the floor, engaging the muscles under the neck. And exhale, drop the head and push. Inhale, curl and push. And if you start to push more at a diagonal, you might be able to come right up. And then coil. I'm in what I call my seahorse body, and the seahorse upper back. And right in that gut, this is a big, big core move. And I try to work. Inhale, curl, coil, and exhale. Okay? So that's extra credit, but it's possible once you've learned and strengthened the core. Go back to both feet and see if we can bend both knees with the feet hip width. Inhale and exhale, push. And beginners, all I want you to do is let the slide strap through your hands a little bit and let the legs play forward so that we're creating essentially a downward dog on our backs, rolling the shoulders back, pushing the back of the head. Everyone can try this. And now the legs are kind of supported on a diagonal plane, core is involved. And that's it. Feels good because you have full connection. Low outward pressure of the feet. Advanced students, you can pull the knees in if you're going to touch your elbows to the floor, curl your chin like that, and then exhale away. Inhale, curl, exhale. The rowers in the group know this motion a little bit. And then, of course, the super advanced, you push up into your Navasana. Or you can come up, roll up when nobody's looking, and try it from here before we do standing poses. So we'll just take the legs, straighten them for a second, give them a shake, and then we'll bend them into the body, and we'll rope around the feet like that. So you can maybe get to it from here by inhale, coiling, and then exhale, lean back and lift. Drop the heels, inhale, coil. Feel that drawing across the transverse abdominals. Exhale, pick up the feet by pulling up through the pelvic floor. Ba-boom. Inhale, coil. Feet down or hover and exhale. Ah. So here's one of my first extended poses, Navasana. And am I in the core or not? Have I gotten away from it to the limbs? Let's release that. Just take a figure four for a second with the right foot across the left and take your hands back. And let's just stretch out that hip. And then let's switch that. We'll go back to side one. So even if we were working here and coiling on inhale, you can even lift the left toes off the mat and exhale, pressing back. Inhale, coil, roll the shoulders forward like you're rolling into a ball. Exhale. Don't just lean back or pull up through the pelvic floor. So probably saying, well, this is kind of babyish. But aha. If I have no shoulder injuries and my core is strong enough, I coil, I find the lock, and as the pelvic floor pulls up, maybe I just come up a little bit. And this is going to be a repeated theme. The advanced students, of course, Do you need to do that? Not necessarily. Get the primary action as we switch sides. Inhale, coil, maybe lift the right toes. Exhale, just roll on the pelvis. Pelvis rolling toward and away. Start small from this flywheel, and then maybe the next step for you is just to hover an inch on the exhale. And the levitation device is the Mula Bandha.
pulling up through pelvic floor like you just sat on a tack. Whoop. And then maybe it goes further. And maybe it doesn't, depending on your body. Let's straighten the legs, just give them a little shake. Take a forward fold for 10 breaths while I grab water, and then we'll move on. So even when the teacher has you do the simple, playful movements of rolling back and forth, which you could try now if you like, before we do our standing work, if you have this internal mechanics, so to speak, with the breath cycle, you can play with a lot more sophistication and safety. So the rolling back and forth, but all the vinyasa folks love the inhale and the exhale. Well, fine. If I'm 18, 19, 20 years old, which has been a few years ago, then I can just play without thinking. But as one ages and things get a little dicier or less consolidated, shall we say, having this draw in the gut and pull up through the pelvic floor allows me to still stay strong. And you can take this to any measure you want. You can roll back, pulling the belly in to coil the legs, and coming up to full Navasana, if that's your practice. It doesn't matter how far you go into extension, but what is of primary importance is this core. So let's take it up onto to go, so to speak, and grab our chairs. And if you want to pad your knees, I didn't see Doreen jump on, but maybe she did late. If you want to take a blanket to your knees, you can. And so we just have the hands on the chair at first, in kind of an innocent fashion. And if we were doing the coiling and we pulled the chair back toward us and then exhale like so. And inhale, we're going to pull the front edge of the chair so the back edge comes off. Make sure it's on your sticky mat, it doesn't slip. No chaos. And then, so what are we doing? We're doing cat and cow, arch and curl, but we're just doing it a little bit different. Instead of our hands on the floor, our hands on the chair, because if you do something all the time, you're not thinking about it. So I'm curling into the low belly. Oh, I could tap my head to the chair, and then I press forward, let the hips come forward a little bit, lift the chest, I get a little extension work. Just start to play with these bandhas in this manner. And so rather than doing up dog, down dog in the normal fashion, here's my up dog, much as I want, and here's my down dog. Of course, if I wanted to do more sophisticated things like curl my toes under, I inhale back to downward dog, and then I exhale. Drop the knees, come forward, and start to do this. Inhale, coil, pick it up, the legs straightening, waha. Exhale, drop the knees, and let the hips bite forward. So that's up to you. But I'm keeping my seatbelt on, so to speak, in the core And if I just relax the limbs a little, move from the core, hold the belly in, lift the pelvic floor. Then things can be soft in my limbs and I can still feel that it's safe. Okay? So let's go ahead and take the elbows to the chair like that. Bring the hands together, walk the knees back, and just place the head on the chair top. Stretch the triceps a little bit. And then crawl one hand on top of the chair, the other hand on the chair. So can we all try the downward dog, the chair dog, tuck the toes under and roll back. You can bend your knees a little and lengthen your arms away. And slide your hands to the sides of the chair now so the palms are facing one another. Then you're going to walk your feet toward your chair. Take a forward fold. So somebody can place your head on the chair like that. And other people are flexible enough that they can go deeper. But it's nice to have a kickstand for the head. Then we'll take the hands to the chair and lift to a flat back. So this is kind of nice because usually we do flat back either here or here, and people, they're not that good at it, actually. I shouldn't say that, but I include myself in that category. But here, I'm creating a nice, pretty strong structure. Let's just gauge our distance to the wall by just tapping that wall with one foot. So I'm going to move my chair a little forward. Can I get that foot to just tap in there like that? So just get that distance. Okay, we got that distance. Now let's see if we can bend the knees and curl the body down into Ardha Utkatasana. And then exhale, come back to that flat back. Inhale, pull in, and exhale, straighten. Simple. All we're doing is moving the pelvis, posterior tilt, anterior tilt, finding Uddiyana Bandha, scoop in here, but I didn't have my hands, right, and then exhale. Can we do this with one leg now? So as you inhale and sink down, can you lift your right knee up toward you? Then exhale, release. Inhale, sink down, pull the left knee up, and then release. So we're doing the same thing we did earlier on the mat. Pulling the knee in, and then release, push. Beginners, if that's a lot, forward fold, take a break. Otherwise, can we go ahead and take the drop into both knees and pick the right knee up, inhale, and then exhale. Let's step back into our Svanasana. So we'll take that right heel to the wall, ideally, and then keep the hands on the chair, bend into the front knee. So we're setting up Warrior One, similar to what we did the other day. But let's stop for a second and work our core. So lift the back heel up, right heel. Inhale, start to look down and bend that left knee and bend the right knee like you're going to put the right knee down on the ground. Hover and exhale, extend, straighten the legs. Now we're at that flat back position with the legs toned, extended away from the core. Inhale, pull. It's like we were on our backs. We're pulling. One knee we had the strap, the other leg we're just hovering. Maybe hard to picture, but I'll show you. And then we extended the legs. Inhale, pull into the core, belly's working. Exhale, Mula Bandha, pelvic floor. Just pump the leg, inhale, exhale, work. And if you want, you could take it deeper in your full extended pose.
arms forward, or maybe the hands to the floor. I like the hands on the chair because if I extend the arms, I can trace back into the roots. Now can you come up halfway? And you can microbend the left knee if you want. Keep your left hand there and take your right hand to your hip. Start to peel your chest to the right. Maybe take triangle pose. So what's happening here? You can hold your triangle, but if I work with this premise of coil, inhale, exhale, extend, I can make this into an entire gym class meets yoga class. Coil into the core, keep the core seatbelt. Now I see if I can extend easily the limbs. Coil, inhale, I'm going to drop down, kick, right? And advanced students, right hand to hip, look forward, reach left hand further along the chair or maybe up to the upper part of the chair. Take a little hop, and here you are in your half moon pose. And even take the foot back to the wall, push. And where's my core now? Do I still have my seatbelt on? The tailbone curled a little. So that's for the advanced students. Let's all take a forward fold. Now let's try the other side. So remember, it started by sinking down like chair or leaning over chair. Inhale, I pull into the belly, and I lift that left knee up. And then put it down, stomp into both feet, lift the chest. Inhale, pull that left knee up, then stomp. Then I pull the knee up, I engage, Uddiyana Bandha, and I kick back to the wall, left heel to wall if you have one. And I start to find this extended pose. But right away I see, maybe I'm ready, maybe I'm not. So if we lift the back heel, bend the left knee, coil into the belly, again, as if I'm coming back to here. I just, inner knees coming toward one another. Exhale, kick and extend, left heel to wall. And just stay with a flat back at first. Inhale, curl, exhale, extend. And once you're working that motion of the sacrum, the muscles around the sacrum, core, and the pelvis, then the pose starts to eventually find its safe extension. So advanced students start to feel like now that the starfish limbs of the body can go further and further away. Come into a flat back with the hands on the front of the chair. Keep the right hand there, the left hand to the hip. And now we start to take a yoga pose. And how does it feel in these two areas of the core? So I have points of contact on everything but the upper hand to give me information back into the belly. But if I want to turn this into an interesting exercise, I can square off, bend, left knee, inhale. Keep that slight seat belting, and then the legs just happen to be unwinding, but I'm still working from the deep core. And so you get huge, huge results. I could play in the normal pose, but I'm so in the bandhas here that maybe I take the left hand hip, look forward, take a little leap of faith into half moon. You can even take the advanced students a foot into the wall, take it lower, the bottom arm, but you're still belly button to tailbone, still really tight. Tight, and then you can have the freedom to breathe. Okay, and then everybody comes down to forward fold. And then take your toes out like a duck and just sit down for a second in Malasana. Give that low back a little bit of a breather. And you can even use your chair to lean forward and just hug the chair. Take the head down to the top of the chair like that. And coming up and forward folding. Hands to chair, flat back, inhale, and then bend the knees, exhale, arms up, normal chair. How's it feeling now? And then palms to heart. Super interesting experiment after we practice would be to do, or take a minute now, and just do a couple of these postures without any of the work and see how the core is. So whatever your practice is, however you come into a pose, or I'll guide you through taking the left foot back, warrior two, stitch into the core, inhale, straighten the front leg, and then pull up through the pelvic floor and just see if it's stronger or not. Should be. Right foot back, warrior two, pull into the core, pull in, and then exhale, the extremities unfold from the lifting like a thread from the tailbone, lifts like a puppet string. And so you're able to move without injuring yourself. Really good. So let's just do a few more and then we're going to have to close off, but that's going to give you some really nice homework to practice with. So let's see if we can grab our straps again for a moment now that we've done a lot of the upper body work or the lower body work, and find or revisit some of the upper body work connecting to lower that we've done in the past, just so that you feel integrated. And we're going to penguin ourselves into Tadasana, stepping on the strap with the feet together, just in front of the heels, and then bending the knees enough to walk the hands down the strap, pulling up, hugging the upper arm bones, pushing the heels apart. So remember what I said at the beginning of class about being attenuated in some parts of the body, but especially any area or any part of the breathing process, like the throat, the tongue, those have to be relaxed. Otherwise, if I'm squeezing my neck muscles and eyeballs, then I'm jarring the nervous system. So it's really a balance of what's called sthira and sukha, which is engagement and disengagement of certain areas of the body. Any physical mover has these double skills, these dual skills. So let's step your left foot forward and out of the strap, and then bring the feet together. Just push into the strap leg and feel that leg pushing down from the core, from the hip, structure of the hip. And so if you're on the right foot with the strap, can you just keep pulling and the arms are pushing, and just do some movements of the legs, a free leg off the midline, forward, side, maybe back. Okay. And then we'll step into the other foot and really pull with the arms and push with the foot. And then again, kind of just play around, mostly out to the side, back. And so this is core work, connecting some of the dots we did. And now let's put both feet in the strap. And we're going to step the right foot back, and now we have this strap in the front foot. And let's just pull those
front toes off the mat and stretch the calf. So lean back. And then push the toes down. Pull the elbows back and sink into warrior two. Lean forward a little bit. And then bring the back foot to the front, step in the strap. Let's go back with the other foot, left foot. Lift the front toes, right toes, stretch the calf, lean back. And then sink into that knee and pull with the strap. Lift the chest over. Lean forward, find your core, step the feet together. Step your right foot forward this time. Keep the strap on the left leg and slide it back. And then you're going to bend the front knee, inhale, and lift the elbows up, lift the chest up. And exhale, straighten the front leg and just start to let your body hang on the strap. Drop your gaze. Stretch the back of the neck. Bend the front knee, inhale, pull the elbows up, and exhale, lean. If I were super advanced, crazy person, I could be thinking of my core coil here and my Mula Bandha here. I could just pick up that back foot, come into a Dekasa with the core. I didn't say to do that, I just wanted to show you. And then let's put the feet together, press. And keep the strap in the right foot, step the left foot forward, and take a warrior one. Bend into the front knee, pull the arms up. Exhale, straighten the front leg and lean forward. We already did this pose, but now we're just working the stretch the back sheath a little bit. Inhale and exhale. One more, and then crazy people with the back heel push. Full connection and extension. And we're down. Let's take the strap up the back. One last thing. Hook the elbows around the strap and lift. Look up. And then release. Take the strap aside. Stand with your eyes closed for a moment and just feel all the points of contact in the work. And then let's lay down for a bit in Shavasana and allow the body to integrate some of the principles. I like to take the hands briefly to the lower abs and just give them permission to release. Suddenly the inner legs release and the toes go out. Then I cross my forearms, my hands to opposite shoulders, kind of shake the shoulders from left to right, let the head wobble, like someone's trying to wake me up. Gently relax the shoulder capsules and then drop the arms. So now the legs and the arms are given permission to lay limp. Sends a signal to the rest of the brain to disengage and come back to the breath, flowing in, flowing out. And then bending one knee, bending the other. Take a breath, roll to one side, and come up to seated. So not necessarily easy class, depending on how you're playing, but as you sit now, just take stock and see if you've got a little more awareness of these points and how they connect with the breath. The inhale going down, front line, and the exhale, if you were to sit in meditation now for 10 minutes, which is not a bad idea, you go down the front line, inhale, and exhale, you loop where you just create a pattern up the back of the spine, over the crown of the head, and you start to circulate the breath in the body like a flywheel. So you learn how to move the breath into different parts of the body, different muscles, which we're doing to some degree anyway, but I'd say most people are moving around in their bodies a little bit zombie-like these days particularly, and the limbs kind of go willy-nilly